Veer, welcome to Film Companion.
Thank you for
and
having me.
many congratulations on a second Netflix special.
Yes.
You were, of course, the first Indian comic to be on the platform.
Yes.
And now, within a year, you've got a second show.
Yes, we shot the first one 2 years ago, but it came out a year ago.
Right.
So, but yeah, I've been writing this new show for a year.
So, has it sort of put a little swagger in your step? When you see other comics, do you say, nice, but I'm in 190 countries?
No. So the first time that first special came out, you're happy, you know what I mean? Because you're on Netflix and the promo has come and you're next to the logo and all of that stuff. And I think you allow yourself like 5 minutes of swag.
Acha, what's
yeah,
five?
and then after that, you start getting messages in Japanese and in Chinese and in Portuguese and in French from all over the world. And I just felt very small. While everybody around me was celebrating, I was like, there's this huge audience out there that I could have reached out to with this special. I don't think I really realized how big their audience was.
Right.
So in that moment, I actually felt the smallest I've ever felt as an artist.
What do you mean? Like you thought you didn't do enough?
I felt like I didn't do enough. I felt like the next thing I do needs to be
Better.
something that is better. And then, like 3 weeks after me, Dave Chappelle came out. You know what I'm saying? And Hassan Minhaj came out, and Nanette came out last year. And you're just sitting there going, okay, these are people who are honing their own voice in an amazing way. I need to get there. So that's really my takeaway from the first special. It was very nice. And it had a nice endearing quality to it. Main suit pen ke, I'm on Netflix, I'm representing and all. But I needed the content to be better after the first one. That's the truth.
Well, listen, from what I've seen of the second, which is of course only the promo.
Only the promo.
So I loved the line in the promo of the second show about, if an Indian woman was asking for it, she would ask for it because it is available.
It is available. It is very much available.
So speak a little bit about what is the second one and how is it different? What are you talking about? How is it different from the first?
So the first one was very introductory.
You shot it in the two countries,
shot it
New
in
York,
the two countries
Delhi.
just to sort of say, hi, my name is Veer and I exist. Now please watch my content. I put on this fancy suit, so you will watch me. I think the second one I view like a second date, where now let's have some fun and let me try and fool around with you by the end of the night. That's the aim of the second special. It's called Losing It. Simply
Is it riskier?
Yeah, it's far riskier. Basically waking up and realizing you don't believe 80% of the shit you have believed your whole life. That 80% of everything I believe, these people, these beliefs have to go from my life, which is a true moment I had in my life. And so it's about re-questioning religion and politics and being an Indian in the world and masculinity and my feminism, but also talking about my story, where I grew up, going bankrupt, being sick, getting into Bollywood, failing in Bollywood, all of those things. So it's about, it's a purge. And that's what the show is about. That's why it's called Losing It.
So this took 2 years to write?
Took 2 years to write, yeah.
And is it difficult to sort of bring out things which are very deeply uncomfortable, like failing in Bollywood? How do you see that?
So I talk about it, I go from Mastizaade. Like that's my beginning point, right?
I remember, Veer, my review of Mastizaade, and I don't normally remember my reviews, but I only remember pleading to Milap Saveri's mother that the next time just say no to your son, because Milap said in some interview that, I run everything by my mom, and if she says yes, I'm a go.
Yeah.
And I said, please, Mrs. Zaveri, zara mana kar dena.
So the special talks about how, and there's a line in there where I say, the movie came out and my phone stopped ringing.
Really?
For like Vodafone wouldn't call me, you know what I mean, for 4 months. And it was in that moment in time, by the way, that I took a flight to the US for the first time, and I'm like, abhi kaam yahin pe milega. You know what I'm saying?
But why? I mean, there were other men in that film,
Of course
and
there
you
were.
were hardly the one responsible.
But I took the beating because I was allegedly this ambassador for a certain kind of comedy.
Sure.
And I was doing a certain kind of commercial comedy. The one thing that I think comedian actors face is you have two images to maintain rather than one image to maintain. You know what I mean? Who knows what a big actor is like in real life?
Right.
But you get to see me every weekend at the show and there's an image there.
Yeah.
So they're like, Arey, but you represent this. I'm like, but there's 1 more billion people out there outside of the 300 million English speakers. I'm trying to get to them as well. So it stopped ringing fully. And that's when I took a flight to the US and I'm like, I'll try and do some shows here. That's when Netflix saw me. That's what got me signed, and that's what led to this kind of...
So it all worked out.
It all worked out. It always does, but it talks about how for a fair amount of my, not the films I'm doing now, but that phase of films, I just didn't really believe in what I was doing. And the fun of being on a set like that and kind of sleepwalking through a couple of things and really trying to be a golden retriever, trying to be an Alsatian. You know what I mean? When you should just try and be the best golden retriever that you are. So it talks about that as well in a certain honesty. You know, there's a bit about me trying the Shah Rukh Khan pose. You know what I mean? Because all heroes are made to do that, at some point or the other.
Really? Is that true?
You are a hero, at least at one point they'll make you do that. And somebody will run towards you. Except for me, I think like I'm 5'9" and the girl was 5'11", right? It was Lisa Hayden or something like that. So I'm standing on a box doing that. So in no way is this fulfilling some sort of big hero self-esteem. And in that moment, I realized only Shah Rukh Khan can pull this shit off. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I have no business trying this pose. I should do me.
Correct.
And it's about that realization as well.
You said, Veer, that Priyanka Chopra has really opened up doors for Indian actors in the West. So, of course, you're also doing the ABC show,
yes.
Whiskey Cavalier.
Yeah.
What else are you exploring? What do you want to do?
I think for me, this new phase, whether it's the Netflix stuff or the next 2 movies I'm doing.
Which are what?
One is going to be like the Indian Austin Powers. So I'm going to do a film called Happy Patel Khatarnak Jasoos. And that's my next movie that I'm shooting next year. I'm going to be creative producing it. I've co-written the film as well. And I'm really leaning into the kind of stuff that I want to do. Where I think because of the digital medium opening up over here, we're entering this space in India where there's room for like a Steve Carell or a Jonah Hill or an Adam Sandler or a Ben Stiller to headline films within the ecosystem of India and have them be those high concept comedies.
Sure.
So that's some place that I want to go, but at the same time, I kind of decided I'm either going to do me and crazy or the opposite of me. So I'm doing Hasmukh with Nikhil Advani, which is me playing a serial killer, and it's a dark, violent man from Saharanpur. You know what I mean? Which is, you couldn't imagine me doing that. So it's kind of trying these 2 ranges rather than comfortably winging it in the middle.
Right.
Right. And,
Is it exciting?
It's incredibly exciting to actually be part of the content
that's happening now.
That's happening now and that you are involved in. I don't consider myself successful yet.
As an actor, you mean?
In general, like success is
in life.
In life, success is the amount of time that passes between you waking up with an idea and that idea reaching fruition. Tomorrow, if Amir Khan,
definition.
If Amir Khan wakes up in the morning and he's like, I want to do a movie about donkeys that do judo in Peru, right?
By the evening,
some guy will have researched donkeys in Peru. 1 donkey would have learned judo. 6 producers would have said, "Acha, ye action master donkey ko judo sikhayega."
Yeah.
And
an A-list heroine will have signed on.
Yes. And that's 4 hours for Amir Khan. You know what I mean? He's got that time span down to this.
The rest of us, it takes longer.
It takes a lot longer. It takes years and years and years. So to me, that's success. I want to get that period, because I've woken up with 20 ideas in my head every morning since I was 18. I want to get that period down to the smallest possible time.
Nice.
So touch wood, it's shorter than it's ever been.
Right. It's been such a tumultuous year for comedy.
Yeah.
Right. More than a year ago, I did this comedy adda with some of the biggest names in the business. And we talked about the bro code and how it is inherently a hostile environment for women. But I think the Me Too movement has really exposed how toxic it is.
Yeah.
It's not hostile, it's just downright toxic, right? What is your take as somebody who is a senior? What is your analysis of what went down? I mean, is it just too many young people getting too much money and fame too quickly, and most young people being men, and then feeling like they're entitled to anything, including the women?
I'll start by saying 2 things. I'm not really part of the scene.
Sure.
So I don't know what happens in the clubs, and that's something I think a female comic who's trying to make her way in the scene can speak to.
Yeah.
So that's not something I'd have any authority over. And also, who's to say who gets too much fame too fast, and all of that stuff, etc.
Yeah.
I think it's a wonderful thing that happened. I really do, because I think a purge of a wave of professionalism coming into any industry is a damn good thing. Even if it is operating from a fear of God for right now, of misbehaving.
And not sort of being aware.
And that's the healthiest thing in the world. Fine, be afraid if it makes you behave yourself. There's a bit about feminism in my special. Honestly, coming to terms with the fact that I'm not going to claim to be a feminist because I don't know enough yet. And this was basis various conversations with feminists. To write this bit, I kind of went out and spoke to, Rega from BuzzFeed, a bunch of other people, and just, some professors, and said, what can I do? And all of them kind of echoed the same thing, which said, shut up and listen for a while. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just shut up, don't talk, listen, and then put into action. And I think that's also the best approach for men in the Me Too movement, which is shut up, listen, read the tweets, read the articles, and then figure out what you can do in action. So for me, I employ 15 people, so it meant reading, having a workshop within the office, talking about the committee, just making sure everybody's okay. And really taking the lead from women in that so that you can be an ally. So that's kind of how I see it right now, but I think it's a wonderful thing. I will say that we've been fortunate that because comedy is a small scene and it's low stakes, that there's been quick consequence with a movement like this. I would love to see the same consequence happen in television and in film and in music where it's high stakes and a lot of money and big people. I'd love to see the same level of consequence happen and professionalism happen soon.
Do you see a major change on the ground, or are you not on the ground enough to really see
Not on the ground. I mean, I was on a flight all of last year. I went to 33 countries last year. So
that's amazing.
It's the only way I could write this show.
Right.
Because coming back to that first thing, when I started getting all these messages, I'm like, I have to leave. I have to go and travel the world, and that's the only way I'll be able to write an international show. So I've been to places in the last year that you couldn't imagine.
Like what?
So I did the O2 in London, right? It was great. It was a Sunday. And it was thousands and thousands of people, and we sold out, very swag, etc., etc. On Monday, I went to Norway. And on Monday night, I worked in Stavanger in Norway. Stavanger में मेरे शो में 32 लोग हैं, ठीक है?
It's a great leveler.
Right? तो एकदम hashtag औकात एक दिन में, you know what I'm saying? No O2 swag. And Stavanger में मतलब एक गोल चक्कर है in the whole town, you know what I'm saying? And it's not even elevated, like इतना बड़ा elevation है गोल चक्कर का. And to the level of out of 32 tickets, I think 17 was sold. And then the promoter had to call up friends and family saying, he's very talented, free mein aa jao. So, I haven't seen those days in a very long time. I promise you, Anupama, the Monday show was better than the Sunday show.
Really?
It was the best show of the tour because nobody knew who I was. They barely spoke English. And we had to relate to each other. Not one Indian in the house, whereas London was packed. I've done shows in like Colorado for primarily Trump supporters. So you can't go out there with your regular arsenal of left-wing jokes or whatever.
Right.
You have to appeal to those people as well.
Yeah.
In a lot of African countries where you go, just a lot of the pop culture references are lost.
Yeah.
So that way it's
been... you're really thinking on your feet.
Yeah. So it's been kind of a nice mind-opening year.
So I have to ask you a personal question. How do you sustain a marriage when you're traveling? For how many months did you say?
7.5 months last year I was out. So Shivani looks at the tour and then she picks destinations she likes. You know what I mean?
So I'm guessing Norway wasn't on it.
It was not one of them. But she came to Scotland, she came to Australia, she came to all the places she likes that are fantastic.
Nice.
And then
she's smart.
And then I'll make sure that those shows are on a Sunday so that her and I have like the Monday or Tuesday in Paris or something like that.
Right.
So my wife, before we were married, was part of a company called Rock Street Journal. And so they did all the big rock concerts in India. So she's familiar with the road life.
Yeah.
So that way she's kind of cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of Louis Vuitton luggage in our life. So we're able to, stay in a shade hotel also. And
she's sorted.
Yeah, we're not an entourage couple. So that's kind
of In fact, I was going to ask you about that because I read this interview you did and you said that you had sort of a moment where you had the shades on and people were taking you through. But you said that I reject the stardom because I just think it's completely not real.
Look, I think when people first discover who you are and you get a little bit of fame, maybe it's okay to be a douchebag for a year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can get away with that.
I think so. Everybody has that, bhai. You know, all of that
Right,
shit.
right.
At some point, somebody will call you bhai.
Correct.
And you'll be like, maybe I am a bhai. And then you discover there's only one bhai, which is Salman.
Indeed. That's patented.
So for 1 year, I had that, sunglasses in airports phase. And like it was yesterday, I remember it. In Jet Airways, there's that first class gate that you arrive. And then some airline representative comes and meets you at the gate. And red flag one was, there's a guy carrying my bag. And he was about 20 years older than I am. So I'm from boarding school. So immediately that starts to feel wrong to you. And then they held my boarding pass. And they put me in the lounge. And they're like, Mr. Das, we'll come back with your boarding pass. And I'm like, no, I can
Hold my own boarding
hold
pass.
my own boarding pass. Like, never, why will you hold your own boarding pass? Sir, we will come back and we will give you your boarding pass. It's
too much work.
It's like they assumed
Right.
because I had become famous, I had forgotten how to board a flight. I'm like, what does this paper do? Like celebrity had cleansed my mind of the boarding process or something. And then we skipped all the lines. And I was like, there's some guy who runs an NGO for kids. There's somebody who's curing cancer. I tell dick jokes for a living. How am I skipping this line in front of these people? And the culmination of that was it affected my writing.
In what way?
In that phase of my life, I wrote a show. And it wasn't very good. And I knew it wasn't very good. And you can...
Because why? A certain sort of hubris had set in.
Yeah, and you feel it. When it's 7.5 on 10.
You're self-aware enough to know that.
Yeah, I think but also I have a wife who will tell me, and I have colleagues who will tell me as well. And I was like, what did I write about? And some of the things that I wrote about reeked of a certain privilege. And I think that's what went wrong with that show. Nobody wants to hear, so I was on a private jet the other day. Right. Asshole, fuck off.
Absolutely.
मैं train ले रहा है. Like, what the hell are you writing?
This is not funny.
This is not funny.
Yeah.
So then I kind of consciously said, look, the acting thing will keep on happening, and I will produce and I will direct, and inshallah they'll all go well. But घूम फिर के वापस stage पे ही आना है every Sunday. Friday को film चले या ना चले, I'm on stage on Sunday.
Really?
Absolutely. And that's how I maintain a relationship with the fans. So that is the longer relationship. So if that's going to stay, I have to write about real shit. And so now I travel alone. And you'd be really surprised, like my advice to any celebrities who have this entourage system, because you want people to leave you alone, if you actually travel alone, nobody messes with you.
Really?
And everybody's just kind of regular. I've found that it was in the grooviest way. They're like, hey man, what's up? And that's it. As opposed to side. And some guy with like, some tight jeans, ripped, this, that, etc., sitting on a buggy at the airport, wearing shades so he can watch other people watch him. That's bullshit. People don't care. They have to get to passport and immigration themselves. You know what I mean? So, anyway.
I also read that you said if you were to write a book, it would be called Perpetual Outsider, because that's who you feel you are in 3 industries, comedy, music and film. But has this sort of inside-outside position given you a perspective that perhaps, you wouldn't have if you were an insider?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know what the average lifespan of an actor is, right? But I've been around long enough. I've managed to sustain it, where one is continuing to work.
Yeah.
The upside to a comedy career is you can age into a comedy career within films. Baman and Anupam and all these guys, hopefully I have that to look forward to.
Sure.
As I get older and older and older.
Yeah.
But I've never made it to the point of Bollywood acceptance where it's baba ka juice. You know what I mean? Like,
Hi, yaar, how sad. You need a baba ka juice.
No, yaar, I'm
just kidding.
I've made it to acha actor hai. You know what I mean?
Which is damn good.
Yeah, but I haven't made it to baba ka juice.
Correct.
And I don't know if
And you don't aspire to that.
I don't want to make it to baba ka juice. You know what I mean? To comedians, I'm the guy who did Mastizaade, right?
Forever tainted.
Forever tainted. And also I'm the Bollywood guy, so they're like, "Arey, ye to,
Thoda street cred वैसे भी कम है.
Exactly. And then I also do music. So to musicians, because of Bollywood and comedy, when I play a rock festival, they're like, what the fuck is he doing on stage? Singing songs about boobs and all of that stuff, etc. So, but somehow I'm quietly working.
Are there any Indian comics that you like?
Yeah. So, I mean, Godfather is Johnny Lever. Like, none of us have touched that. And I'm not saying Johnny Lever as a film actor.
No.
Johnny
I've
Lever
seen him
as
perform
a
live. Oh my
stand-up
God.
comedian
Yeah.
is one of the defining reasons I'm a comedian today.
Absolutely.
I was 12 when I saw him in a big garden in Lucknow, and he had like 10,000 people in his hand. You know, and none of us have gotten to that level
And
yet.
the stories just moved like
Yeah.
from something very funny to something heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like I remember him doing that. Yeah.
Johnny Lever is number one. I like Aditi. I think Aditi's fierce. Aditi's material is incredibly personal and biting, and at the same time, it's universal. You know what I mean? So I really like Aditi's stuff. I think Rohan's a great comic. He doesn't do a lot of stand-up, or he's getting back into it. So I think he's somebody I want to see on stage more. Anu Menon is a comic who I really like. Zakir, I think, is a profound storyteller.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of good people.
Yeah.
Like there's so many of us now. It's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, there's a new Amazon or Netflix. You know, there's a new special
All the time.
every
Yeah.
week.
Yeah. Tell me, you've done shows everywhere,
Yeah.
from New York to Surat to
Yeah.
Vadodara.
Yeah.
What is the one thing that always makes people laugh?
Failure. Like really, mistakes make people laugh. And because then they don't feel alone. You know what I mean? So a fair amount of this show, or you know, I'm writing a new show now, and it's all about love, and it's about me questioning how good I am at love. And when you do that, and if a comedian was to go up and say, I'm not confident with women, or I've been rejected by women my whole life, which, big surprise, that's the basis of, of being a comedian, is rejection from the opposite sex. You've immediately got them on your side, because there's a moment where you endear yourself to each other.
Yeah.
And they relate to that. So I
They
think
connect.
They connect. So beyond your politics, beyond your religion, beyond Donald Trump and Narendra Modi and this and that, failure is something everybody can relate to and connects with.
Well, thank you and congratulations, and can't wait to see all of Losing It.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much.
you.
Hello, my name is Veer Das. You might know me from this. I'm currently on Film Companion with Anupama. It was a blast. So if you like the videos and want to see videos with much bigger stars who are much sexier than I am on Film Companion as well, please subscribe to this YouTube channel to watch people with infinitely better jawlines and ample cleavage.